Whoa! All right, we're back. Hold on, I gotta go get Bob. James is still cooking. James is doing God's work, but. All right, Bob's on his way. They're putting pork chops on the plates. But yeah, it looks like we're gonna start round 2. Super excited. Wait, is that Kai? Hold on. Guys, can you do an audio check? Okay, yeah, that is Kai, right? Kai Sawatari, Storm Savant. Now let's see. All right, on this side we have Deathrite, Wasteland, Forkbolt. That sounds like Grixis Delver to me. I would expect Kai to be playing Storm, but I have heard that he's been testing out a bunch of other decks recently just for this event. All right, and it looks like first player starting off with a Ponder. I guess he's going to be looking for... He's on a mulligan to 6, so maybe he knows what Kai is playing and has mulliganed appropriately. But he's going to shuffle off the Ponder and draw. He definitely needed a black source to cast that Deathrite. That has to be a swamp, right? So Kai's going to go... Right, so Kai going swamp, Sensei's Divining Top probably signals that he's explicitly on Storm. Now this is interesting. Snapcaster Mage. Yeah, we are in round 2 right now. All right, I'm very fascinated by this deck. Yeah, so we're definitely in Grixis colors here. Right. And then there's a Deathrite Shaman. Hey, Bob.
Yeah.
So we've got Kai on the right. I think
yeah?
Whoa, he's not playing...
He's on Miracles.
Whoa, he's on Miracles?
Yeah.
That's not a swamp, that's an island? That's a disgusting... Oh, sorry.
I know, he was testing it online, and I was like, dude, Kai, just play Storm. Rodrigo's playing Storm.
Oh, Rodrigo's here?
Yeah, Rodrigo's there.
Nice, alright.
Alright, I guess I'll just sit in for a little bit.
Yeah.
We might be eating during this round.
Okay.
Just warning people.
Oh, Kai's playing Mentor Miracles.
Yeah.
He's playing Mentor Miracles with
Is
Daze.
He playing Daze?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, there was a Daze on top of his 3. So opponent goes Wasteland, Kai floats some mana, and then spins his top. I think the opponent's on Grixis Delver. I saw a copy of Forkbolt as well in the hand. I don't know what else there could be, but...
The stuff? Okay. Alright, well this is not the best start for Grixis Delver. Usually game 1 against Miracles, you just want to be putting as many things on the board as possible, while either hoping they don't draw Terminus or having a counterspell ready for it.
Was that an end-step Brainstorm?
Okay.
Ugh, I don't know how I feel about that, but...
It's right in certain situations, but given that he has plenty of mana, like mainly end-step Brainstorm is correct when you are short on mana.
Okay.
And I don't think he's short on mana, so I don't think it's correct.
Sure. That being said, we got a glimpse.
Like, I'd rather him Brainstorm to find like a Delver or something during his turn.
Hiya. Welcome back, James.
Whoa.
Okay.
Fail. Alright, I'll be right back.
Here. That's fine.
Okay.
I got it.
Okay, cool.
I got
That's
it.
fine. Yeah, so Kai's hand seemed pretty stacked. I saw Brainstorm, Plow, Terminus, and a Counterspell. Counterspell's not the best in this matchup just because it's really mana intensive, and most of the spells you would be counterspelling are...
What's the matchup?
It's I think it's Grixis Delver versus Miracles.
Okay.
Mentor...
But it's Mentor Miracles with Daze.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Kai's on Miracles, man. Yeah, this is crazy.
That's how bad he feels about Storm right now, is that one of the best Storm players in the world is like, okay, no, I'm going to play Miracles. I think this deck is better positioned.
Right.
Go Paul.
Yes. Okay, but what's fascinating is that Delver player has Snapcaster Mage in his hand.
Oh, really? So could it be the Jarvis Delver?
It might be Jarvis.
The 4-color Snapcaster Delver.
Now, also fascinating, Kai is shuffling away an extra copy of Terminus. There was a copy of Terminus on top of his deck, and he likes to shuffle it. His hand is pretty stacked with the Brainstorm Terminus combo and Swords to Plowshares, so I don't think it's incorrect. And I think right now the card that he really wants to find...
Does he need lands?
Well, he needs lands probably, but I also... No, actually, I think he has lands. But I think, yeah, he needs to find Counterbalance, and I think that it's appropriate to...
He has Decay, so it's looking like the 4-color Snapcaster list.
Yeah,
of
Jarvis.
Delver.
Jarvis Delver. Oh, and he's got spell pierce. Okay.
Bless you.
Bless you, yeah. So, alright. This is very tricky. The game plan... Ooh. Kai needs to... if I were Kai, I would plot the death right now.
I gotta check with James.
Sure, yeah. Wow, and this is just an end of turn ambush viper. There's a ponder in the graveyard and 2 lands. No, it must be sorcery speed then. Okay, all right, yeah. No, wait, what? No, it was an end of turn ambush viper. Wow. Okay. Okay. That's fascinating. I guess there's a true name in Shotaro's hand, so maybe his plan is to force the terminus and then immediately follow up with true name right after. I mean, I think it's better to play. I don't think it's awful to play the Snapcaster as an ambush viper. I think sometimes it's either just bad or I think it's like a very, very wise play. And in this situation, I think it's actually a little bit better because it is putting the clock on Kai. It's saying, Kai, you need to do something right now. Otherwise, I'm going to just beat you down with these cards before you have any time to actually pull back out and stabilize.
So you chose to do that instead of flashing out the ponder?
Yeah. Which is a very interesting play. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. Depends on what you think. Basically, it depends on what you think the role is. Like, if you think you're going to be able to beat him in a longer game, or if you think that you need to be beating down. And it looks now like, based on his hand, I think you just need every card you can get. Because he has Abrupt Decay, so he's answered a Counterbalance, and you have like a couple like stinkers, like Daze and Forked Bolt. So basically, all the Snapcaster Mage ended up doing was getting in for 2. And so he was valuing the damage more than he was valuing the card. And I think the card is more valuable in this situation.
Sure. I agree. So I have a couple things. The first I want to note is that by exiling the Ponder, I don't know if that's correct, but that signals that he might not have Gurmag Angler in his deck. And if he does have Gurmag Angler, I would have rather exiled the Brainstorm. Secondly is, I feel like the way that this deck wins is...
yeah, you always... I guess the only downside to exiling the Brainstorm is if the other person plays Snapcaster Mage.
Okay. Yeah.
But
in this situation, Kai only had 2 mana. And I really like this counterspell by Kai because he's used the Terminus that he already had to his availability. He might not be able to find a second one fast enough.
A few turns.
He does have a few turns. Wow!
Wow,
the blowout!
You saw the guy on the left. He was just shuffling his cards. And then he stopped shuffling immediately. Daze.
He definitely had a little bit of that shock therapy right there. So Daze with the blowout. Dude, you see this?
No, what happened?
Kai goes counterspell on a true name. The opponent spell pierces, and then Kai dazes for full value.
That's awesome.
That's just gross. That being said, Kai does have a Jace in his hand. I believe I saw. Another thing is, the reason I like using the counterspell there is because mana-wise, you're trading up. You're trading your 2 mana for their 3 mana, which is probably like the best situation that counterspell can be used in, especially on a deck when all you're focused on is like maximizing your mana usage like every turn. So that's one good thing about Kai using it there. Whoa, okay.
Against this version, does like Daze Miracle match up better against Delver or worse? Daze. No, how's that roll?
$2.
It's tough to say. I think
it's better turns 1 through 3, and then after that, worse.
I definitely think it's exponentially better based on how good counterbalance is against the deck. Because Daze means that you're playing a lot of stuff early, and one of the biggest cards you would play early is obviously counterbalance, maybe mentor as well. But if counterbalance sticks and just stops the opponent for the entire game, then wow, that Daze was great in protecting it. But if you're putting a Daze into play against a deck that fundamentally operates lower than you with 1 mana Deathrite, 1 mana Delver, 1 mana Bolt, you're not really looking so good because if the counterbalance dies, then like they're just doing more things than you are over the course of the game.
Exactly.
So I think it's a function.
You're hoping to Daze the 3rd spell they've cast this turn, which is not really where you want to be.
Right, exactly, yeah. And once they realize that you're on Daze, like a lot of Daze in this sort of deck, in the Miracles deck, is just like the surprise factor, right?
Sure.
Now that Kai has exposed his Daze to both his opponent and everybody watching this, people are going to be prepared for it moving forward through the rest of the tournament. Even in this game, we're going to see our opponent's going to respect it a little bit, maybe game 2 and 3. So
playing Daze in a deck like this is a lot like playing Daze in the threshold counterbalance decks. But that's how counterbalance decks were built. They all had Daze in it. You're Daze in your counterbalance.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So So this version of the deck is much more like the old school when it's playing the 4 mentor. Like,
Yeah.
It's like in the Tarmogoyf slot. I don't know if that's where the deck needs to be.
Right. I really like that
Mirror
analogy.
match, I guess.
Yeah, I really like that analogy. And I think now Kai's in a pretty decent shape. He's hit that critical massive mana where he needs, like, 5 is the magical number in this matchup, in this Spell Pierce matchup, because it allows you to do exactly what Kai is doing, which is Snapcaster, flashback any 1 mana spell, being able to pay for the Spell Pierces as well. The way Delver can lose sometimes is when they start drawing, well, Bob, you can attest to this, is when they start drawing all these dead soft counters like Daze and Spell Pierce, while, you know, the Miraculous player leverages Sensei's Divining Top to get just better card quality. Kai's hat is pretty cool.
What is it?
His cap, I don't know, it's just a cool cap.
Miracles isn't a really good situation. Different, like, they're head on board, they're not facing a threat.
And he has top and a fetch line to filter.
So as soon as he finds counterbalance. I mean, I guess...
He has the Decay in his hand.
Okay, so he has ways to deal with counterbalance.
But basically he just needs to, you know, keep
he has
playing
to draw
his
threats.
Yeah.
higher card quality, yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's not the worst you can get out of a removal spell. I kind of like it. Kai still hasn't found a...
We found Predict.
Ooh.
We found Predict!
Yes. Yeah, that's... I gotta drink... Okay, I gotta get a drink now. Every Predict that draws 2 cards, I'm in it. I'll be right back.
Oh, it's Jace.
That's less exciting.
Jace plus on an open
So,
is probably GG.
yep. His opponent has Lightning Bolt, but not...
A snap. If he had Snap Bolt, he would have a chance, but...
Alright, so he's gonna Brainstorm to attempt to find an answer, which is just Force of Will. He did find the Force of Will, and he has a blue card. So we're gonna see a Force of Will here. I have back. I think he floated a Force of Will potentially, or he...
Alright, we're playing catch up. So I'll also drink for Jace activations.
Oh, so interesting. Kai's tapping the top to draw a card,
Okay.
and Cho is responding by trying to decay it. And so he's going to force back, pitching a Ponder.
On the Force of Will. Okay.
Yep, so Jace resolves.
So let's see if Kai Fate Seals here. Okay, and he does play around Lightning Bolt accordingly. Very good. Let's see. Alright, so... One thing I've noticed in Kai's cards are his lands are above his spells. I don't know if WotC actually cares enough to...
Actually, they did change that rule for coverage, but I don't know if they changed it in Japan.
Ooh, okay. Alright. So, oh, and Kai's gonna Fate Seal again. Wow, now that is aggressive. In this matchup, like versus Jarvis Delver, which is the mnemonic for the 4-color Delver version that the opponent's playing, I really feel like it's all about getting that value in because of cards like Snapcaster Mage and True Name Nemesis.
You just brainstorm instead of fate sealing for the win?
I brainstorm forever, yeah.
I mean, I think if you get high enough, though, they're never going to deal with your days. Right?
Okay,
So the first plus is definitely right.
Wow.
The first plus is always right, but then going further...
The second one...
Yeah.
What are you playing around?
Well, game 1, I think you can go either way because there's no Pyro Blast.
Yeah.
Post board,
When
I
there's
think
Pyro Blast, it's really greedy.
you just brainstorm.
Plus,
Yeah.
Post board, yeah. I think post board actually Lightning Bolt might even leave. One thing I will say is I really don't like Show's usage of Abrupt Decay in that situation to kill the top.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that the thought process is that, you know, if you stop the quote-unquote engine of the deck, that it will basically disassemble, crumble into just like a pile of bad cards that you can't control when you play them. Because a lot of Miracles is just being able to control when you draw what, right? It's all about that card quality. That precision is what makes it you very, very powerful. And part of, you know, what makes that possible is Sensei's Divining Top. So by stopping Sensei's Divining Top, sure, you're able to, you know, maybe expose that flaw in the deck. But given the game state, how deep we were, how many cantrips had been cast, how often Sensei's Divining Top had already been used, I think the matchup is less so about stopping top, because you can't really take advantage of it at that point, and it's more about just grinding out the win with...
losing a card to get rid of top is unheard.
Exactly, yeah. And then again, and so I think that really goes back to what the Delver player thinks his role is in this matchup, what his game plan is on a macro level to just, you know, getting all the way to the very finish line. And I think just in my experience, and this is just from playing with Jarvis once, and other people multiple times, but the way Jarvis plays this deck is that each spell is almost like a burn spell that replaces itself. He'll never play he'll never play over aggressively.
Mm-hmm.
It's always going to be just like that. All right, Deathrite, dome you for 2 until I can do whatever. I play a bunch of counter spells and a lot of value threats like Snapcaster Mage. And then Jarvis also sequences his things in the similar fashion that Sho did. Like maybe he'll commit 2 cards to the board that'll get Terminus, and then he'll follow up with a True Name. That's fine, but it's all about taking away chunks of your opponent's life total while still retaining like 6-7 cards in hand, so that you can always make another play on the next turn and the next turn and the next turn. And eventually,
Yeah, the way this Delver deck is built, it's built to compete card for card miracles.
Yes,
that's the idea of this. Whereas and you can only afford to do that if you're playing to replicate the deck.
Exactly.
Otherwise, Power Balance negates that entire strategy.
Right.
But because that, you're allowed to like deploy a threat and then deal with this and then play your next threat.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a replicate in your deck, you can't actually afford it.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what I was gonna. That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
So yeah, just looking at what's on the screen right now, I guess they're giving an overview of the 2 decks. This is the Delver deck. Bob, you're the resident Delver expert.
Well, so this is Grixis Delver, so I think they probably have the wrong deck.
Okay.
From everything we've seen, signs point to him playing the 4-color Snapcaster deck.
Sure.
And then I think sideboarding, I expect both players to take out all of their dazes and just go for a grindy long game. In which case, I think the key cards are going to be Painful Truths from the Delver side, and then Predict from the Miracle side, if he has it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how
Did
it
we not
plays
see
out.
that earlier, or were we wrong?
I think he did have Predict.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. He didn't cast it, but
It seems
I thought I saw
strange
it.
in
Days Miracles.
Yeah, I've not seen that.
There's like, because they're going for 2 different angles.
And they're like what slots Predict occupy. The Days Miracles already.
Yeah, so I probably missaw them. They probably didn't have Predict. All right. So it looks like Kai brought in Blood Moon, which is an interesting showstopper if it resolves.
Right. So Thoughtseize is a staple card in the side deck of Moose Delver.
Yep.
Which is a lot better against Predict.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Not playing Predict, then that's less good. But turn 1 Thoughtseize.
I do think.
So here he actually went for the Blood Moon instead of the top. So that shows that A, he respects respects Blood Moon, and B, he might already have an answer for the top, like perhaps a Pithing Needle or a Null Rod.
Or even potentially
Or he could just be so scared of Null Rod.
Yeah.
Blood Moon just did. So he kept in Days.
Okay.
Which means that his
The 4-color player did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is curious. It might depend on his sideboard.
Right.
So if you leave in Days, it's basically saying like, hey, I'm not favored in the long game. I want to like pressure you early.
Right. That's not what this deck is about, right?
I don't think so. We could be wrong. You could hypothetically not be on the deck. We also have 1 Snapcaster Mage. We'll see.
Okay, now very interesting. Kai is electing to play around Spell Pierce here. I do appreciate that.
Interesting. I don't know. I feel like I would never do that.
If he snaps Thoughtseizes here, that.
Is he gonna Painful Truths for 2?
Oh no! Please don't! Please don't!
He's doing it. He's not getting full value.
All right,
Not worth it.
Well, so
It seems okay here. If you don't have a threat and your goal is to like win quickly, then you just got to play out your cards.
You can look at it from 2 ways, exactly right. So like so on one hand, you can minimize or not maximize the value you're getting out of Painful Truths, and on the other hand, you can just pass the turn without using your mana at all. That seems bad both ways. You know what I mean?
It seems like the strategy he's going for by leaving Days, and he's saying, "Hey, I want to win a shorter game."
Right.
And so that to me means it makes he had the needle for the top, which is why he didn't Thoughtseize it.
Okay.
He did have the needle for the top. He just drew that. Painful Truth.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, either way.
He saw needle off of the ponder.
Well, okay, so I guess if you have no answer to Blood Moon, like if you don't have Days, if you don't have Force, if you don't have Road Decay, then I guess you take the Blood Moon.
That's the scariest card, but he had a Replicate in hand. So I mean, I know that's
he
still
he doesn't have a fetch land.
He didn't have green mana,
that's fair.
so that makes sense taking the Blood Moon. Also, it's not bad to just take the Blood Moon and not have to worry about it for the rest of the game.
That's true.
You don't have to like fetch in special patterns or ponder specifically for death rights and stuff like that.
It is the scariest card.
Right.
The result.
Okay, so it looks like Kai's gonna tap to get rid of the the top, and he's probably gonna shuffle it away. So he
Once the
doesn't draw
pithing
the
needle
aggro.
names the top, yeah.
Right. It would be interesting if show names aired Mesa with the pithing needle.
That'd be.
It's an interesting. Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily correct, but
It can be.
it depends if there's any insight with the knowledge that we gained from the Thoughtseize.
Okay. Yep, Snapcaster Thoughtseize.
Ooh, double mentor. Laser. Untap, play the mentor, and ponder.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it looks
playing around the days.
And what does he have in
This
his
is
hand? He has Spell Pierce.
kind of bad luck having two mentors there.
Spell Pierce and Daze. So I think one of these mentors is going to resolve, and I don't see Kai not playing the mentor this turn because the shields are basically down on the Delver player's side. Upkeep fetch.
Okay, so it looks like he named top.
Press F11. Yeah, Corey, I tried pressing F11.
What does that do?
It just makes it bigger. It's not working though. I tried, yeah.
Makes what bigger?
It'll expand the full screen so we don't see the browser and all that sort of stuff on the bottom. But the reason it's also because James, I don't think the mic is picking up on your. Okay, you know what? Maybe let's
Move the mic.
let's just move the mic this way, maybe.
Or like,
Let's see.
try that.
Yeah, we move the mic a little bit. Let's hope.
Yeah, let us know if this is better or
Yeah.
worse.
So it's like it's a cardioid that so it picks up like voice from a very specific direction and it like minimizes picking up audio from like. So maybe that's what it is. Like,
Nice.
yeah, James is just right on the. Anyways, back to the match.
So
So,
look, he dazed the ponder.
no, I think he dazed the mentor and then made Kai tap out.
Oh,
Okay.
That's actually pretty exciting, but he has to have the green for the abrupt decay now, and it looks like he has an
he
expedition.
actually.
What is that card? Is that a winter?
Whoa, it is a winter orb.
Okay, that's
Ooh.
right here.
Yeah, winter orb is very good.
That's another way to shut down the mentor engine.
Um,
So you definitely. Yeah, you play threats. You
Waste.
play Winter Orb and you hold up.
Spell
No, you hold up
Winter
Spell
Orb
Pierce.
first, yeah.
Yeah, you hold up Spell Pierce.
all right, this is beautiful. Winter orb is probably the strongest card against miracles. So
Coming out of Delver.
coming out of
Yeah.
Delver,
And that helps explain keeping dazes.
Yep.
Post-board games.
Exactly.
Still seems weird with the Snapcaster Mage build, but it could still work.
fascinating. So,
So
Kyle
not electing
set-
not to try to ponder.
Yeah, I'm guessing he opened the.
Oh, he already had a vault. That's true. So
Okay.
goes into
So
STP.
it's still a pretty dicey situation for show, right? Because, like even if he just plays, makes one monastery mentor token every turn,
Mhm.
it's still probably going to be enough to overpower what show has. So show still needs to find an answer probably.
Right, and so Kai finds Swords to Plowshares off of the Ponder, which I think is a very good draw. Now, Show has Spell Pierce, so let's see. Kai is probably going to. It seems like Kai is respecting that, which is I admire that. Yes, that's good. It seems like Show is trying to untap his Wastelands, and then
Oh, wait, did he find an abrupt decay?
he had the Abrupt Decay. He just
Okay,
needed
so
the
now
mana
you
to
can
cast it.
decay the mentor.
The problem
Yeah.
with
I think he
not
has to.
wasting and keeping up Spell Pierce is that these wastes are going to have not as good value. He's just never going to untap these volcanic islands.
Well,
And you just have, I don't know.
so I spoke with Jonathan Alexander. He's a really good Rug Delver player who is all in on this Winter Orb strategy, and he actually likes Wastelands in these sort of situations because eventually it's going to get to the point where either Kai's spending all his mana and playing into like Spell Pierces and Dazes and stuff. Ooh,
I think we might see a Swords of Plowshares to make another token right here.
yeah, that's another reason why keeping Daze is good post board. The Winter Orb.
Yeah, exactly. I think James mentioned that.
Okay.
It turns on your lands again, and your opponent's pretty mana light.
Right.
So, all right, looks like that's what he's gonna go for. He hits the death right, and we'll see if.
So his
tries to
next
spell
two
pierce it.
turns, I think, Delver player needs to be untapping his wastelands and cutting his opponent off. He has Kozilek's Return in hand.
Yeah. So one thing I don't like is he didn't have the death right, because death right's quote unquote it's a land that untaps, right?
Yeah.
So now he's gonna be down 1 mana next turn.
Sets him back a turn basically.
Right. I don't think Kai has any more land. Oh no, he does. He has a third volcanic island.
He's gonna hold that Volk
right
to make sure this return works.
Wow, this game is amazing.
What return works?
The Kozilek's return.
Oh, he has Kozilek's? Oh, he's actually gonna just go ahead and cast Counterbalance here because he's not. Interesting. All right, so Show's at 10. So he's just try to beat down. Looks like Show's taking the trade, going down to 8. That seems fine. Yeah, so the Kozilek's return is not very good for Show. Yeah, the Kozilek's return is not that good for Show because he had the 2 tokens out. It looks like he's trying to just close the game out.
This illustrates a little bit the problem with the Winter Orb plan, or more specifically playing Snapcaster Mage for the Winter Orb plan. You need to establish a more substantial board.
Yeah.
You know.
Whereas in regular Grixis Delver, typically 2 mana is going to be enough.
And Gurmag really shines with Winter.
Oh yeah. That being said, I actually think Winter Orb is so powerful that
yeah, it's still good here.
It's still good here, yeah, right? Like that's the thing.
Yeah, that's true. It definitely changes how this game is. You just need to draw a guy.
Yeah, and if you evaluate board states, like I don't think
Counterbalance is a problem.
Counterbalance is a problem, but if I were the Delver player, I wouldn't be afraid of it.
He has a Replicate in his deck, but he still does need to draw it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd still cast my spells into it, like.
So the other thing is Winter Orb sort of shuts down countertop. I guess he doesn't even have top out right now. But it's.
All right, and this is a very. Kai's gonna. That's good. That's a good attack.
He's basically bluffing the Brainstorm and saying, "Hey, are you gonna call me?"
Right.
And he could have the Brainstorm too. I'm not sure.
I'm not really happy that he untapped a Volcanic here because of the Wasteland.
Yeah.
So it looks like Show's going for the Drain plan instead of like Wastelanding Kai's lands.
Right. But at this point, Kai has 1, 2, 3, 4 duels, and you can't cut him off red. You can't cut him off white. I mean, I guess you still try to bottleneck his mana though.
Didn't he see the Kozilek's return?
He did.
Playing the second Death Right. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. Did he see it?
He did.
He did. He saw it on the Thoughtseize.
Yeah. Maybe he's like signaling. Maybe he's saying I have a removal spell. I don't think Kai's. Well, no, Kai can wait. He can Brainstorm to set up his card as well. He has to play around Spell Pierce, Flusterstorm, and Daze.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen all those cards. We should expect the Flusterstorm.
So the other thing I don't like, I think like the Delver player should have just attacked with a Death Right. You're going for the race situation.
Yeah.
There's no reason.
Ooh, and there's a Blood Moon and an Engineered Explosives here. This could be lights out. Well, yeah, this could be lights out. A 3-for-1 off the Engineered Explosives.
I mean, he was Kozilek. Oh yeah, the 3-for-1.
Yeah.
He could opt just Kozilek's return. But yeah, with this much mana, use the inefficient spell now.
Actually, no, you're right. Winter Orb is out, so that makes things a lot less attractive.
He has no hand, right? Or he has 1 card?
He has 1 card.
The other option is you play it for 2, and then you have the Kozilek's guys.
Well, this seems fine at this point. At this point, Winter Orb's not doing that.
I like it. Bam, bam, bam. Engineer's Explosives looking really good right now.
Yeah. And he's actually almost just dead to the token.
Yep. Monastery Mentor showing how it has radically transformed this Miracles deck from something that just like used to be so slow and just like the first few turns like, you know, felt really awful to something that is just like 3 wins now.
He's gonna get beaten to death by a monk.
Yeah. Right. So I'm wondering, while we're still in this game, what does the Delver player have to draw in order to win?
He needs to kill the token and then kill the counterbalance. Well, I guess the counterbalance is
True Name
not
right now would
necessarily
be an okay draw. That would buy him time.
Okay.
If he's playing that card. But I think at this point he's dead. He needed to draw threats earlier. He needed to be not Death Right.
Yeah, I'm also wary of the sideboarding plan. Maybe in retrospect, the Delver player could have sideboarded differently. But if you have Winter Orb in your sideboard, it seems asinine not to bring it in. So maybe.
Well, just basically, maybe a sideboard strategy with the deck wasn't as good.
Is that a second Causal X return?
It is.
Wow. All right.
I think Death
He
and
really wants
Taxes
to
is
beat-
pretty popular in Japan. So
Okay.
Is it? Okay.
I think so.
I mean, if it is, I've playtested with Causal X return a sufficient amount, and every time I cast it, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it's good in a bunch of matchups, right?
Yeah.
Still seems weird that it's not a split with Power Class or something. There are definitely matchups for Power Class and
Like this one, for example. Well, sorry, yeah, like this
So
one.
this
for example.
one
This one,
and elves, yeah.
that's relevant enough.
Yeah.
I mean, is Pyroclasm like
And they're
not
a
good
draw.
enough against Seven Taxes? Like clearly returns better, but Pyroclasm also seems great.
I think there are draws when Power Class will be valued.
Yeah, the trade off for Kozilek's return is that you lose a little bit more to Thalia, but you beat Rishid on Port and Mother of Runes. And I
Alright,
think.
it looks like he's gonna cast the Blood Moon here. We'll see.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind waiting, honestly. Like, you're so far ahead right now that you don't have to cast the Blood Moon. And, like, this
He
is.
just wants to trigger the monk to get a chump block too. Like even if the Blood Moon gets countered.
Sho is not happy by this. It looks like this Blood Moon's gonna resolve. No, he says it days. I'm dumb. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Okay, so he has a daze, but then he's losing his death right. So he shows okay with that. Or Kai is okay with that.
Yeah. I don't know if I would have played.
Probably seen it gain 2.
Actually, you know, Kai is so far ahead that playing
the
Blood
Death Ray
Moon is
just
not
came
too
into
bad.
play.
Oh, it did. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
He's
So,
getting beaten down by a monk.
alright, this game is over, I believe.
Does he have anything for the monk?
That has to be a true name.
Well, he has to have Blood
Could be
Moon.
a creature.
I'm sorry, there's no Blood Moon to play. Your name is good, though.
That's true name.
There you go. This game's gonna go on.
Yeah.
It
The other guy has
continues.
Terminus.
Yeah,
Does he
so-
cast the Terminus here?
Yeah, he's like, well,
Wait, does Kai have a Forcible in his hand? No, this must be counter.
He's gonna cast the Terminus. Alright, so this game's gonna go on for a little bit longer.
There we go.
And actually,
More magic.
Show's position's not horrible
yeah, you
because
draw a Gurmag.
you just need to draw some creatures
There we go. That's the
Delver.
first step.
that don't get countered by counterbalance.
Delver.
Hmm.
Ooh. Ooh, that's a dagger. Now, Sensei's Divining Top
I don't
is-
think you play the top here. Like you just want another. Yeah, you just.
He had Force Wheels in his hand.
No, those are counterbalances.
Yeah.
Why? Does he have a Brainstorm in his hand?
Winter Orb just makes games so weird.
Yeah.
He used to draw a Gurmag.
Yeah, I think they both just need to draw threats, and Show's actually more likely to draw threats at this point. Although now his one-drop threats aren't going to work out.
Right.
And given enough time, Kai's gonna have enough mana to work with.
Well, this is disgusting. I mean, if Winter Orb was not in play, this game would have been over so long ago. I mean, that's maybe like some sort of retroactive, like, analysis, but it just feels like this card has done so much. It's just like shown us all that it's been doing so much work. Interestingly enough, Joe does
Free reveals.
not play the Lightning Bolt in response to the counterbalance. Not only that, Kai chooses not to counter it with the top. That's a very... I like that play as well. I like that a lot, actually.
I think Kai is just like, I need to get some lands and then
Yeah,
find a spell at some point.
right.
Alright, so he's good on the land.
Nazis.
Okay. And now that we're ahead...
He had a window if he casted Gurmag
Yeah,
within the
yeah.
last several turns, but now that
This chokehold, well, we could start by drawing like an
I
abrupt
think
decay.
you want Abrupt Decay
Yeah.
and a threat. So yeah, the window's pretty much closing.
What's interesting is I'm surprised Kai left in counterbalance in this matchup. I typically don't like counterbalance in abrupt decay matchups because it's a little unreliable. Your opponent has control over when counterbalance is active and when it's not if they have the abrupt decay. And while it's conditional, they could not have the abrupt decay. I think you have to err on the side of safety. That they will have the abrupt decay since, I mean, that's their plan, right? To abrupt decay or counterbalance. And in those situations,
I actually moved to discard.
he
right?
just drew a Pyroblast. And Pyroblast does seem to me to be the reason, to be the card that's strongest against hitting Snapcaster Mage and True Nemesis. It goes a very long way in card advantage.
Lonely Center to not auto mute with silence. I have no idea. If anybody knows how to do that for the mic, I can try and change it because I imagine it must be like a little annoying for it to just like blitz out and then blitz back in. If you guys know how, just like let us know.
Sorry, what's going on the mic?
Yeah, so what happens is when we
stops and starts?
Yeah, when we stop, like look at the green bar, just say silent. Damn, it's gone. And then it comes back only when we talk. So it doesn't pick up audio when we're not talking, which is you know what I mean? Like it's just like silent. I don't know, whatever. We'll talk about it later. But back to the match. Shows found an abrupt decay for the first counterbalance.
For the first counterbalance.
He's still gonna have to power through the second one.
Yep.
What's fascinating is that Kai still hasn't killed Show yet. So
well, he needs Jace or Mentor, right?
Or Snapcaster.
Okay, interesting. He's gonna go for the needle here, despite the fact that he's countertop out. So Show's gonna spin and see if we can find a one on top. Or Kai. I keep mixing up. Yeah, I don't know. This game's like.
Okay, there's been way more than 5 spins. I'm sorry.
They're actually playing really quickly.
They are.
Which I appreciate. All right, yeah.
Delver player.
Show's calling it a day.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I could go on for another 10 minutes, but I'm not gonna win this. The cards I'm drawing are not as good as the cards you are.
Right. Ooh.
Winner!
Nice. All right.
All right, I think it's a good time to go eat our meal.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I think Winter Orb is a strong card in this matchup if your deck is built a certain way. I think the way that his deck is built doesn't best utilize Winter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like,
his deck is far more mana intensive. If you're trying to grind your opponent, Winter Orb doesn't really help you there. It's if you're trying to get underneath them.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, that deck is built to beat Miracles by going over the top of it, by grinding it out with Abrupt Decay, Snapcaster Mage, True Name Nemesis.
Yep.
Yeah, Winter Orb keeps you from being able to do that.
Alright, cool.
Alright, so I think these guys we're probably gonna get food now, but in the meantime, Dan said maybe play like a match online. I don't know if it really matters.
I mean, let's
you know
go eat
Dan
food.
Neely? Dan Neely?
Daniele?
No,
D
Neely. He had the first 5-0 in the second Legacy League season.
Right.
Dude, that's important. Come on, like his. Was
Alright, we're gonna go eat.
Yeah. All right. We'll be back. Hopefully there'll be another round. If there's another round, we will be here to cover it. Whoa, Bob! Yo, check it out. They have a binder for the tokens. That's so interesting. What are you talking about? Yeah, we're not going to close the stream. I guess if you guys would prefer this to just be on right now. But yeah, sounds good. All right, I'm going to turn this stuff off. Guys, if you know any way to fix the the audio, give me some input and advice. I'm not really a master with OBS, but I'd like to learn. Corey, if you know a way. But yeah, cool. All right, be back in a bit.